Greetings, true believers. Joel Powell, Spider-Man. Hey, Cadre, KJ. Going to do today a special open comb. This is a new standard, and it's the tuck-away set with the kind of shorter, stubby handle. This is a 1927 razor, which is a birth year for my grandfather. So I thought I'd talk today a little bit about the birth year razors that I have and what I've kind of done for part of my collection. So we're going to continue on with the Hallows, which I said I was going to do for the rest of the month. I'm going to use again my Maggard synthetic brand new razor to me, or brush to me. Used it a few times, but really enjoying it. So that's what I'm going to use to get this lather going. And while I'm lathering, I'll talk to you about the razors. So sure most people realize that a lot of Gillette razors either had date codes on them or serial numbers, and the serial numbers can be traced back to a certain year of production. So for the majority of Gillettes, not all of them, you can actually find out what year it was made, which is kind of cool because one thing that we like to do is collect birth year razors. So for me, I'm a 1976, which is a W, and starting in the 50s, the date codes were ones that you could actually trace back to a quarter. So it had a letter and a number. The number corresponded to the quarter. So the first 3 months of the year was a quarter one. Quarter two, the next 3 months, and so on. So I was born in April, so that puts me at a W2, second quarter. So for my birth year, what I have so far is a black-handled super speed, black-handled super adjustable, also known as the Black Beauty, and I have a track 2. Yes, the track 2s and the Atras are cartridge razors, but they also had date codes on them. Depending on the source I've seen, Atras were either introduced in 75 or 77. So there's a possibility that there's an Atra out there that's a W date code, but I haven't found one yet. About the only other thing that I could find for my birth year is a tech. And techs are tricky because depending on the code you are, they started them over. So they went A through Z and then they started over. So there is actually 2 W's. And the other W is from a much earlier time frame when they also made the techs. But the way that I could tell the difference, unless somebody Franken-razored it together, is the techs that were made in the 70s were aluminum handled. So if I find an aluminum handled tech with a W date code, it should be a 76. There's differences in the caps and all that stuff too, but I don't know the exact differences off the top of my head. So, after I collected my own birth year razors, I thought it would be pretty cool to collect the birth year razors for my dad and grandpa. So my dad is a 1955, which is an A code. He is a second quarter. So I do have a second quarter A code red handle or red tipped super speed. And then I've got a blue tip and a flare tip that are quarter 3. So they're at least the right birth year, but they're not the correct quarter. And so likewise, I could also use a tech for his birth year, which I don't have one of those. And there's also, I believe, a president or an aristocrat that was produced in 55. And I've also seen sources that say there are a couple of toggles that, based on the serial number or something, were made in 55, but sources conflict on that one too. Another source said that the toggles didn't come out until 56. So I don't know if that exists for 55 or not. And then I'm sure there are a few other razors for 1927, but this is probably the only one that I'll get for 1927 for my grandfather's birth year. They're a bit more rare. These razors are a bit more sought after, so it's a little bit more expensive. Now, one other thing that I have done is for my kids. Now, they were all born after 2000, so obviously there are no date codes for them. But just because you don't have a birth year doesn't mean you can't pick a letter that has some meaning and just collect it. So what I decided to do, my boys are teenagers, but they're not yet shaving. Girls are shaving, but I haven't gotten them to try DE yet, but I'm still collecting razors for them if they ever decide to do it. So what I did is pick the first letter of their name and use the date code for them. So my oldest girl is an M, and since she's the firstborn, she's going to be an M1. So I've got an M1 Gillette Lady and an M1 Gillette Slim for her. My second born boy is a J, so he's going to be a J2. So I've got a J2 Slim for him, and I need to get a super speed. So the boys are going to get Slims and super speeds. The girls are going to get Gillette Ladies and Gillette Slims. So they're all going to have an adjustable, and I figured the Slim was a good pick because for the girls it's got the longer handle, and it's pretty much a universal razor anyways. Next girl is an L, so she'll be L3. I've got the Gillette Lady for her in the L3. I still need the Slim. And then my last boy is a J, so J4, and I've got the Slim and the super speed for J4. I would also like to get techs, at least for the boys. If nothing else, just to have a bit of a milder starting razor. For when they do first start shaving, but the super speed will be a good starter also. Or the Slim set to a really low number. So that way, they've all got razors that are kind of unique to them. They can look right at it and see the date code and know which one is theirs. Even though both my boys are J's, they're going to have a different number on them. So that's just a different idea of something you can do for somebody. Or possibly some of the younger members on the TSC forum were born after they stopped using day codes. So pick a letter that's unique to you. Pick the letter of your last name, or maybe your first name, or just some letter that has a meaning to you and has some razors that you want to collect in that year, and just pick a year and go and just start trying to find everything. Maybe pick the I don't know. Pick your I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I was thinking of doing something with an anniversary, but not sure where I was going. So that's just something a little bit out of the box that I was doing, collecting the birthday erasers for my father and grandfather. Not to give to them. My grandfather's passed, but just to collect in their honor. My dad usually just grows a beard. He doesn't shave most of the time anyways. So Chad said that he got to sample the Hallows yesterday, and it wasn't for him. And I totally get it. This is kind of a very unique, very dark scent. And I can definitely see how this wouldn't be for everybody. Tell you what, I'm getting some really good shaves off of these new standards. I had one yesterday, and this one too. I've got a regular new that I'll put through the paces tomorrow, but these are, to me, a lot better from what I remember from the news. A lot of people call them RFBs, or raised flat bottoms, because the bottom plate is there we go. So it's completely flat across the bottom. It doesn't have any contours like the normal news do. And a lot of people say that the raised flat bottom news give some of the best shaves, and I'll agree with that. I could touch this thing up all day, but I've got a pretty good shave going, so I'm going to stop right there. So, grandfather's birthday eraser, 1927. Again, this thing is only 9 years away from being 100 years old, which is pretty cool. again, I think I got a pretty stellar shave, but today I think we're going to use a little bit of witch hazel anyways. Just because. There's a fly in my ointment. And the hallows. Not for everybody, but man, I really dig this stuff. And EDT. So that's my shave for today, and we'll see you guys on the forums, www.theshavingcadre.com, and Spider on the forum, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.